Okay, well.
In Spacewatch, astronomers say they've been receiving radio signals from a distant galaxy. Scientists with Canada's CHIME Observatory say one of their telescopes picked up 13 bursts of fast radio waves, known as FRBs. The signals came from a source 1.5 billion light years away. The cause and precise origin of the radio waves is still unknown. A similar event has only been recorded once before. Physicists believe merging neutron stars are likely behind the disruptions.
Well, on this show over the years, we've kept you pretty consistently informed of any weird activity in the skies above us. Most shows don't do that. They're too embarrassed, but we're not. Why would we be? If alien life exists, it's far more likely we'll hear from it before we see it. Now, a telescope in Canada reports picking up a strange, powerful signal from far, far away. What is it exactly? Brett Larson has been looking into it for us. He's morning anchor for Fox News Headlines 24/7 on Sirius XM, and he joins us tonight with more. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Tucker. Yeah, this is definitely one of those what kind of stories. This is something called a fast radio burst. It was detected multiple times, and it has many scientists saying we need more data. So a couple things can be a fast radio burst. It could be a neutron star with a strong magnetic field, two neutron stars colliding, a black hole perhaps, and yes, could actually be an alien. The latest discovery comes almost by chance from something called CHIME. It's the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment. And get this, the system wasn't even completely set up when they discovered the bursts. Now, the fast radio bursts found are from a galaxy very, very far away, 1.5 billion light years to be exact. And it is just the second time that a repeat of a fast radio burst has been detected. And the object CHIME found produced actually 6 different bursts. ARS Technica reports that of the dozens of fast radio bursts identified, only one other has produced multiple bursts. And this is actually kind of significant. More and more scientists are looking into the skies with more precise instruments to find these signals, and they don't last for very long. This isn't something you're going to hear. This is like a fraction of a second, and it shows up on a graph. Now, some astronomers have considered the idea that these bursts could be from intelligent life elsewhere, and with more scientists searching for them, we will likely find out more about them and find more of them. I think it's alien. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think it's alien, and I think it's fascinating that you point a radio receiver to the sky, and we pick up radio signals. Now, granted, there are scientific explanations for it, but
so to flip it around, I just want to be sure I understand this. I mean, there's nothing about it that I really understand, but there's no hard consensus that this is a naturally occurring phenomenon. So there are serious scientists who believe this could be an intentional act, the sending of these radio signals.
So it could be from the collapse of a planet. It could be signals that come out of a black hole. And if it is signals that come out of a black hole, that's awesome too, because we can then learn more about them. It could be a neutron star. It could be two of them colliding. And again, that's also a very cool thing that we caught it. We can now hear the signature that it makes when these things happen in the skies above us, in the galaxies literally beyond the Milky Way. If it's alien and it's get Jodie Foster. We got to build the spaceship and send her.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd include Jodie Foster in that. But
well,
try to keep it up in mind, Brad.
No, I know.
Good to see you. Thank you
Tucker.
for that.
Thanks for having me.
Hey everybody, Rex Bear Elite Project. How the heck are you? Beautiful day out here today in southern Colorado. You know, you've got a side of chemtrails with some blue skies in between. And this article is awesome because this, in my opinion, verifies we are not alone, and this could be contact with a Type 2 civilization. So I'm going to share with you some excerpts from Live Science. Now, this article originated from this right here, the first detection of fast radio bursts between 400 and 800 megahertz by the CHIME FRB. Well, what's that? What's the CHIME? That's the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment. It is a telescope, a radio telescope. Let me share this with you real quick. Will you just look at it? This bad boy right here is a radio telescope in the Dominion Radio Astrophysical Observatory in British Columbia, Canada. It consists of 4 100 by 20 meter semi-cylinders about the size of snowboarding half-pipes, populated with 1,024 dual polarization radio receivers, and it's sensitive at 400 to 800 megahertz. The telescope's low noise amplifiers. Hold on a second. I got to change this song I'm listening to. I'm listening to Batman right now. The Dark Knight Rises film score. It's a little too intense for the brain right now as I read this to you. Okay. The telescope's low noise amplifiers are built with components adapted from the cell phone industry and reptilian shapeshifters. Okay, I don't know about that last part. Its data is processed using a custom-built FPGA electronic system, and I'm listening to Stranger Things score right now. The extended version, of course. So anyway, this chime picks up these bursts, these fast radio bursts, like boom, 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 boom. And scientists don't know what it is. They have no idea. Now, this is the actual graphs showing the bursts that were picked up. Now, let me talk a little bit more about these FRBs. FRBs. These FRBs are fast radio bursts, and they just last a few milliseconds. Scientists aren't sure what causes FRBs. And since 2007, there have been 70 occurrences of these incredible anomalies from the heavens. Some call it outer space. Some say outer space was built in a basement, and you're in a virtual reality program right now inside of a petri dish, inside of somebody's laboratory that's on top of a roller coaster inside of a giant theme park, enabled inside of a cube that is in a doppelganger of Saturn. That's what some people say. So, an FRB, a fast radio burst, there's been 70 of these things that have been spotted since 2007. They have no idea, scientists have no idea what causes these FRBs. These events have occurred during both day and night, and their arrival times are not correlated with known on-site activities or other known sources. Patrick Boyle wrote that. He's the author of the Astronomer's Telegram Report and a project manager for the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, CHIME, the radio telescope that detected the strange new signature. The pulse is fast. It is a very low frequency that suggests the blast was extremely bright and originated from an exceptionally, insanely powerful source somewhere in the cosmos. Studying the peculiar signal could give astronomers better clues and insight as to how these extragalactic radio waves form and where they are actually coming from. So, let me share with you a little bit more information here. Fast radio bursts are exceedingly bright given their short duration and origin at great distances, and we haven't identified a possible natural source with any confidence. So they haven't identified anything natural with any confidence. Avi Loeb, a scientist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, who was not involved in the discovery, said last year in a statement related to new research on these bursts. Remember the sounds from space that I shared with you the other day that NASA recorded with some very cutting-edge technologies that would literally take light and convert it to sound? Now, he added that an artificial origin of the signal's extraterrestrial intelligence. This gets me so excited, I just can't even phrase it properly. He added that an artificial origin of the signal's extraterrestrial intelligence is absolutely worth considering. Swamp gas from Uranus. Other possible origins include supernovas, exploding stars, supermassive black holes, or various other sources of mighty electromagnetic radiation, such as pulsars. Now, that's about as good of an explanation as saying, yeah, it was a Chinese lantern that reflected off of swamp gas that was in Yellowstone. And a microwave signal is what caused it. Like, for example, there was a signal that came out decades ago, and they don't know what it is, and then 17 years later they finally say, oh, well, you know what it was? It was just a microwave. It was a microwave signal. Somebody had, they were heating up some some popcorn, and it just picked that signal up. It's really weird, right? They give us the lamest explanations. Like the tether incident. Watch the tether incident. Just search tether incident. And then read the official story of the tether incident. Swamp gas is even a better story than that story, in my opinion. But I'm just a conspiracy theorist, and these are all highly speculative, and I'm in a bunker garage in southern Colorado. So anyway, fascinating. The CHIME, the radio telescope, very interesting. The Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Telescope. So let's talk about this for a minute. 70 times since 2007 with the technology that we have now. One of the Fermi paradox questions is, if there's so many extraterrestrials out there, then how come we're not making contact with them on a regular basis? Well, we probably are. They're probably making contact with us, and that information is either suppressed or we don't know what they're saying. We don't know how to pick up on the data. And then when we do pick up on the data, the public story is, oh, it could be an ET, but we just don't know. Hey, at least they brought that up. At least they have the decency to say, we don't know what it is, and it could be an ET. It could be a very intelligent civilization. It could be a type 2 civilization. With the amount of energy needed to produce these short bursts, it would take exuberant amounts of energy, far beyond what a civilization of archaic technologies would be able to produce. Now, if it's a star, let's look at the natural possibilities. Let's say, okay, if it's a star that dies, would it be that quick? Would it just go boop, boop, boop? I don't know, maybe. I mean, could it be a huge spaceship? Could it be moving and using and gathering the energy of that area to emit these bursts to actually produce some type of thrusting mechanism? Could be. My mind is thinking that this is of ET origins. This is not a natural phenomenon. It just doesn't make sense. Somebody show me how, well, you know, I take that back. Space is a very exotic destination. There's a lot out there, and a lot that I can't explain. So it could be natural. What do you think it is?